Hey friends, today we're talking all about naturopathy and the specified naturopaths for different ailments, whether it's a holistic endocrinologist or a pediatric naturopath, all of those arenas that I never had heard of before. We're talking all about that, how to keep a good health and pain journal so you can investigate your own health issues and so much more. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. That's what we do here every single day, and we love doing it with you. Our quote of the day: there is no medicine you can take that will replace what you can do for your own health. And that's from someone named Anonymous?
Anonymous.
Anonin. Where did I add that extra in?
I don't know.
Well, it's a Monday morning.
That is true.
Anon. Who is Anon?
Anonymous.
Oh, is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
Annon?
Uh-huh.
Why would they add an N?
Annon.
Why wouldn't it be like Anon? Because then you miss the Emos.
I don't make the rules. I don't know.
Wow. Okay. Well, I like that. There is no medicine you can take that will replace what you can do for your own health. I think that's interesting, but there are some things where you have to take to survive. So true. I don't know how much I believe in Mr. Anonymous. Yeah. This quote might have to get thrown out because it's not fully true. There is no medicine you can take that will replace what you can do for your own health. I think that you can do a lot for your own health, but I don't think you can be this absolute about it.
I feel like I kind of took it like if you're doing something for your own health, maybe that includes taking medicine. I think it's more goes to what we talk about, right? It's not just medicine isn't just the solution. It's like the whole picture of everything, right? It's like, okay, have an active hand in your health and your healing journey. And if that includes medicine, heck yeah, because we need medicine sometimes, but it's not the answer all the time. That's how I took it.
Okay. Well, Heal Squad, you can let us know what you think in the comments below if you're on YouTube, or you can let us know, in the number of other ways you can reach out to us. But welcome back. Today we are going to be chatting about healing and naturopathy and a little breakthrough that I had recently about that. Before we get to that, actually, I want to say something before we get to all of this, because in a recent episode, I was talking about how I went to Macy's and went shopping. And Kevin got so frustrated with me after. He goes, Maria, you have to tell them that was not an ad. That was like a legit experience, because you guys know Macy's is a big sponsor of the show. And I have my curated picks at Macys.com/Better Together. So if you're looking for a gift or you are looking for some fashion inspo, I have my favorite picks on there of things that I love. And I go through the website and I curate my top picks. So if you haven't checked it out, go. We have some really cool fall leather jackets and some cool boots and all kinds of things on there. But it was funny because he was listening to the episode. He goes, you are really just talking about going into the store for real? And I said, yeah. And he's like, well, you should tell people that, because then otherwise they think it's just an ad. And so for anybody who listened to that episode, that's the disclaimer, just so you know. That was just a real experience, and I was not paid to go do that. That was not part of my deal with Macy's. It just was a real situation. And in fact, when I was in there, the whole time all I kept thinking about was Kelsey and our friend Paria, that I have to take shopping because there's so many sales, and there's so many. There was a cool ribbed, sleeveless, orange dress that was long with like a little slit. And I was like, oh my God, that would be so hot with like little booties and a little leather jacket. I just saw one of you guys in it. I mean, I saw me in it too, but I was like, I don't need any more things. But everywhere I turned, there were so many great things on sale that I was like, oh, I can't wait to take you guys shopping. So maybe we could even do a last minute or this weekend.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Have you figured out what your budget is?
Absolutely not. No. I'm dealing, I have a few other health things. I feel like that, that have popped up in the last week or so that I had to spend some cute money on. So I need to re-budget because.
So we're not going this weekend.
So the kidney situation kind of set me back a little bit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But I will look at the budget and let you know.
Okay. Well, your health is way more important than
This
a
is
little
true.
orange dress, and you've got lots of clothes.
Is
and
it though?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
It is. It really is. So anyhow, friends, go to Macy's.com. Even if you don't buy anything that I've curated, if you use our landing page, Macy's.com/Better Together, we get a credit for it. And it helps us keep the lights on. And so you supporting us through that is really, really huge for us. And we're so grateful. Let's get to the breakthrough I had. So it was actually really cool because I had this moment. A download kind of came to me at night, the other night, and it said, holistic endocrinologist. So an endocrinologist covers kind of all things like thyroid and all of that. And I was like, I never thought about a holistic endocrinologist. I wonder if there are specialties within naturopathy that we're not even considering, right? We're just thinking of just blanket naturopathy. And so I started Googling, which is my favorite thing to do. I love researching. I don't know where this like research crazy person came from, but I am obsessed with research and I'm really starting to realize it. And whenever I'm scared, I will go to research to kind of investigate and see that there are many perspectives to something sometimes. So you can't just be so finite with things. And that's just a lesson in everything, I think. But I found that there are people who specialize in these different areas. So Naturopathic News says that within the naturopathic medicine community, there are a number of officially recognized specialty associations in the following areas of medicine. So that includes oncology. There are holistic oncology naturopaths. There are environmental medicine naturopaths, pediatric naturopaths. Sorry, I was listing with my fingers and then I almost stuck my middle finger up and that was a really awkward moment. So I was really blown away because I have a naturopath and I think that Dr. Allison is probably an expert in all of these areas, but I'm going to bring this up to her as well because I just find it so fascinating. I mean, in regular medicine, you have specialties, right? So why wouldn't you have it in naturopathy?
I never thought of it when you said that. Like, and it's funny because
I couldn't believe you hadn't heard of it
yeah.
either. So I was super excited to share it with the Heal Squad when you said you didn't know either. I was like, maybe I'm late to the party or something.
No, definitely not. And I think like, and what I was telling you, like someone like an Elisa Vitti, I know she specializes like strictly in hormones, right? But I don't know why it never really fully clicked like you're talking about. It's like, oh my gosh, like naturopaths have different branches and different specialties, but I've never I've never seen one. Like when I've gone to my naturopaths like you, Maria, it's been just the whole picture.
Yeah.
So yeah, super interesting.
So I just was following a little birdie that spoke to me in my head, and now I've uncovered this. And so if you're looking for a naturopath, but you have an area of concern, you can also narrow it down. So then I started Googling, naturopaths near me, and you can find people near you that specialize in your own thing. And then you can look at the pictures of everybody. And I was like, oh, that person looks like really cool. That person, they've been doing it a really long time. I'd love to be in the hands of someone who's been doing this for a long time. Because when you're working with somebody, and it's not, to shame younger naturopaths or anything, but personally for me, to have somebody that has had so much life experience, right? Like Dr. Allison's been doing this for a long time. She's very young. She's even younger than me. We're very young.
You're both very young.
So she's younger than me, but she's been doing this and she was like in her early 20s. So she's already got 20 years of experience under her belt and she's learned from all of her patients, right? Like she's learning from me and my findings and my things that are reversing. So I love finding somebody who's got that kind of experience. So don't be afraid if you don't have anybody in your area that you can ask for a recommendation, or if any friends are seeing people and they're not, like if no one around you basically is seeing anybody that they can recommend you, just go online and Google the ones that are near you. And even if it's for the first session, you make a little drive to get to somebody, the rest can be done over Zoom. And I think it's just I see the hugest turnaround in me and my health starting to see Dr. Allison this summer. So it's been 5 months and I already see a massive difference, not only just in how I feel, but my blood work speaks for itself. So I even needed to learn to kind of go that way. I've known I've needed to go that way for a long time, but I never really knew who to go to, even though I'm exposed to everybody. I never felt that click. And also with my mom, it was really hard. Again, even though I say it, take care of yourself, oxygen mask first, it's still really hard to do that in all areas. You might be able to do it in an area like I was able to take a break and know that Kevin had it, right? So if Kevin was like, go, take a break, I've got your mom, I'll take her to chemo or whatever. I was able to do that. But there's so many other things you need to do oxygen mask first as a human. And that's also taking care of your doctor's appointment. So I did the bare minimum, I think. And so, yeah, I think, it's been a long time coming. So we had a heel squatter who asked a question about naturopathy and what if you don't have the funds or you're scared to start. I don't think the funds are hopefully going to generally be an issue for people because from what I've seen, they're very affordable. And there's always some workaround with the supplements. Maybe you start with some things, see some progress, and then you can build off of that. I think that, we live in an age where everyone has $1,000 phone. Like everyone has the budget to do so many things. But then when it comes to your health, it's like, oh, like, look, you're even like,
truly,
I really want that orange dress, right?
Yeah.
But what's more important? Your health. You know
Absolutely,
that though. I'm not saying you aren't.
No, but it's true.
But I watch people who make choices every day. It's like it's a choice thing. So maybe you cut some things to focus on this. But the best thing to do is to start and then to track your progress. And when you start to see the progress, and hopefully you're with somebody that you will see progress with, it's worth a shot. And being able to heal and reverse things and get better is everything. Because when the lights turn back on inside of your eyeballs and in your brain and in your energy centers and you feel alive again, now you can do so much more. And that's where you also have to balance, like, okay, for me, I'm like, okay, how much more do I want to do? So you have to just not go too crazy and land yourself back into where you were before. To also mind those balances, but I think there's nothing better than getting to the root cause of what you're dealing with and figure out how to reverse it or heal it or make it better. And I think that's all possible, but it's not necessarily possible within the confines of Western medicine. Western medicine has its things that it's good at. I keep telling everybody the same thing. We have to know our players and what they're good at. You're not going to put a defensive player on offense. You're not going to put a quarterback in defense. So it's the same thing. We know what Western is good at, or we're starting to learn, right? Diagnostic,
yep.
Emergency surgeries and all of that. Specialty areas, kind of like being able to hone in on things and kind of bridge the 911 moments, right? So if you have something that's acute, but the actual healing, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is coming from the naturopathy world. And it's because they're studying stuff that's so different than what medical school is teaching. And you've heard medical doctors on the show constantly say it themselves. They enter the profession and they realize that they work for the pharmaceutical companies. Dr. Zach Bush, one of the only triple board certified doctors in the country, said that. And he was getting frustrated and depressed that he couldn't heal people. And that's why he turned to naturopathy.
Well, and I think it's interesting too. Elaine was kind of, when her mom was a nurse, right? So we're writing some of these questions. She's like, wait, like what even is naturopathy? And I wanted, Maria, like you're doing it now, but I wanted you to kind of give your take on it. But the one thing I said too is I'm like, I feel like they just have an open mind in a different way than like the Western doctors do, right? It's like you said, like Dr. Zach Bush said, like Dr. Funk told us, you get 15 minutes. It's when you go to a naturopath, they're actually going to sit there and
for 2 hours.
For 2 hours and listen to you. Or like I still, my one with my SIBO, I would text her if like something was going wrong. And not that Western doesn't do that, but they're a lot more open-minded and like solutions. Or even going back to the money end of things, have a conversation with them. If you don't have a big budget, I've had that where like, I can't spend $600 on a kit. So she helps me find a different way to go about it. I just think they're a lot more open-minded in those ways.
Yeah, I'd love to hear how you've been able to navigate budgets with them.
I just think it's being transparent.
How much was your naturopathy for an appointment?
$250.
Yeah, that's
which is
generally
doctor.
the range.
Yeah. And I know, but shop around, you guys. I know some can be like 400. Usually I would say between 2 and 4 is what I've seen. But like, yeah, I ended up finding one for, $250, I believe she was. And I was like, okay, I can do that. But I did tell her, like, I can't do a million of the, like, I'll do the blood work you need. But I know a lot of times she was like, okay, I want this. And I'm like, okay, I can't do all of that. So what do we need?
Yeah.
And she really worked with me on that. And like I said, I couldn't spend $600 on the kit. So she was like, okay, well, let's look at some other ways to go about it. So I think it's just being open and transparent and honest. But I feel like most people can find that, like that initial visit, just go and like, they'll give you the time.
Yeah. I remember my dad, you weren't with me in Connecticut, but my dad went to his first lab appointment after Dr. Allison. He wanted to charge him like $600 for maybe even more for his blood work. Money, I can't be this is crazy. He called Dr. Allison. She figured it out. She's like, no.
Yeah.
They aren't processing your insurance. Your insurance should cover some of this at least. And so that number came right down to like $200 or something. So that's what I do. I have my primary care physician submit blood work for, 80% of it, whatever it is. And then Dr. Allison will do the nitty gritty stuff that they don't do, because the nitty gritty stuff is the stuff that really tells you the bigger picture story, right? Like we had that amazing nutritionist on the show this summer who talked about cholesterol and how they only do the few main tests, but those aren't the ones that really tell you whether you really have a problem to deal with.
That's right.
What was his name?
Johnny Bowden.
Johnny Bowden. I thought that was such an amazing episode. We should link to it in the summary of this for people.
It's a really good app.
But, and we also have to get Dr. Allison on the phone at some point. And maybe once I've healed my stuff, we have her on so that we can actually like really talk about how we did it. Because Heal Squad, I've been the guinea pig for us behind the scenes, figuring some stuff out and having incredible results. I'm really, really excited to share with you guys. But yeah, I think there are ways to do it, but it's going to become the future. It's already the future. It's already the now. But I think the awareness, just like the awareness around organic food and clean beauty products and stuff is getting more obvious and more out there. I think naturopathy is going to become something more that is going to be more acceptable. It just is. And by the way, if you don't have health insurance, I feel like naturopathy is the way as well, because
I agree.
You're going to spend $200 on an appointment with somebody. They're going to take some blood work. So you have another, let's say, a couple $100 there. And then now you know what to do. Then you're going to have some supplements, which will be a little bit more. And you're on your way. But once you have your health restored, guys, everything is possible. Because otherwise, everything is just going to keep accumulating the opposite way. You can have the accumulation effect either way. It can just keep corroding and getting worse and keep accumulating because the medicine doesn't heal it. It just band-aids it so that we can keep on keeping on. So then what do? And that's kind of been the problem, right? We all just keep on keeping on. It's like, all right, give me the Synthroid, give me the, whatever medicine it is, and cholesterol this and blah, blah, blah. When we could work towards how do we give the body the missing elements it needs to make it work better, right? Like Dr. Allison's had me on magnesium and a few other supplements. And I just see the energy coming back to my body. She was saying how, I think it was my mitochondria had no hydration, I think, or some the cells had no water. So, how can you even like do anything? So she'll explain it all. I'll have her explain the whole process. But you start to see it changes really fast. And for us, anybody over 30-ish, I think it was over 35, she said she sees such resilience in our bodies because the younger crowd, the Kelsey crowd that grew up on cell phones and all the digital like EMF and all of that, it's really hard to see them heal, she said. Yeah, I know.
That's scary. I don't like that.
Yeah.
It makes sense though, because thank God I'm like, I didn't get a cell phone till high school. Blessed be.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
I was a little bit older. Yeah. I was ninth grade. Mm-hmm.
Ninth grade.
Mm-hmm. But like I know Elaine probably had one super young, right?
Elaine is 22.
Yeah. And I'm 28.
When did you get your phone, Elaine?
I think I was in like second or third grade, but like it wasn't like a smartphone. It was like one of those like flip phones. Like the only thing I could do was call my mom in case of emergencies. And there's like no games on it whatsoever. But like smartphone, sixth grade.
Yeah, I didn't have a smartphone. I had like a little Nokia flip phone all through high school. I didn't get a smartphone until college.
Wow.
But like I'm grateful because I couldn't imagine like growing up, and that's still a lot. That's still early.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine the kids who are just like, it's like, okay, here you go.
know.
So young.
I know. It's wild. And, technology is advancing so fast. So they'll be able to come up with solutions for health stuff really easily, I think, with replicating genome sequences and all the things that they're doing out there. I think they'll be able to heal a lot of things. One of the documentaries I saw a few years ago, The Transcendent Man, Ray Kurzweil, one of the great inventors of our time, was like, they're going to have little chips you put inside your wrist, and it's going to administer all the medications you need, and it's going to be really, really advanced. And I think it's going to happen really, really fast. But, you think about even cars now have to have TVs for the kids so that they can watch YouTube and all this stuff. And we're excited by that, right? We're like, whoa, look at all this technology. But then we don't think about what it is potentially doing to us. As I sit here and realize I keep forgetting my blue blockers. But yeah, maybe I should just leave a pair here in the studio.
There you go.
That's my solution.
There you go.
But yeah, it's a whole other way to kind of focus on your healing. I really think that your healing begins with a combination of Eastern Western and getting a naturopath on board of your health to get you better. Even if you're just lacking in energy, I can tell you, it can be like a quick little shift. One little supplement or two that could just make the biggest difference. And don't be scared when you have to buy the supplements and sometimes you're gulping at the price, because again, you're making a choice to focus on your health. And I feel like that's always the area we want to cheap out on. And that's really scary that we're all accustomed to that kind of pattern. And I do it too, guys. And I have means and I have resources that are beyond most people. And I'm gulping. And then I'm like, wait, why am I gulping? Right? I'm going to buy a pair of shoes that cost this and not blink. But for me to get supplements, I'm like horrified. Oh my God, I can't believe this. Right?
Yeah, I don't know what it is about that. I think
you feel that too?
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I think too, supplements kind of got a bad rap, that's why it's hard for me. I know, because when they came on the scene in the whole like wellness craze, it was like, this supplement's going to fix your life. And then I know for me, I was like, okay, let me buy every single supplement under the sun. And so I spent so much money on supplements.
I used to watch you.
Oh my God.
And that was probably when you were curbing it.
Oh, literally, truly though. So now sometimes it's hard for me when I have a naturopath. I'm like, but I actually will talk to them because I know my body does better on less. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, give me, again, it goes back to like being transparent. I'm like, give me what's absolutely necessary and then we'll go forth. But yeah, the good supplements, the good brands, the better, cleaner brands are always very pricey, but it's worth it to not have all the extra added like coats that they put, the little capsules in and anyways, but
Yeah.
they're pricey, but they're worth it.
You feel the pinch. And yet if someone said, let's go to Disneyland and spend, $3,000 on a whole package, you wouldn't blink.
I maybe would for that.
Moment is fleeting. Well, I don't know. I just know that's super expensive. You wouldn't blink, but your health is everything.
Yeah.
And so we have to stop blinking at that as much and thinking, all right, what can I cut to be able to do this? And this is going to be a temporary thing because I'm going to get better. And then your body, once it's online, shouldn't necessarily need all of that to continue, right? Because then it's like you put the gas in the car, you put the oil in, you tune it up, you do all those things, and the car goes for a long time. And then you might need to adjust again, depending on your lifestyle. If you're beating the crap out of it, then you might need to do some more. But the way of Ayurveda is that you're supposed to be able to get your nutrients from the sun and the air and the food you eat, but the food we eat is poisoned. The air we're breathing is poisoned. Not to be negative or, defeatist, we have to do better. And we have to overcompensate for some of these things.
Yeah. I feel like that's a really good point too. I want to touch on, Maria. The one thing that I think is really special also about naturopathic medicine is they don't want you to be in there for forever. They want to heal you. Like I even know with my naturopath, I was on so many supplements for my SIBO and for the SIBO, thank you. And her whole goal was to get me off of all of it. She doesn't want to keep me on it for forever, where I feel like oftentimes Western, they don't even think about that. They're like, okay, here's your medicine for life. And I'm like, I don't want to be on this for life.
Well, most of them are tipping over themselves.
Right.
They're not taken care of by the system either. I mean, I don't see many healthy doctors. Think about it.
They're running themselves ragged. Yeah.
Running themselves ragged. I mean, they'll talk to me in the appointments because I'm always talking to them. And they're like, oh, I was here till 1 a.m. last night, or I was here till midnight last night, or, whatever that. And you're like, and you're back here at 6 a.m.? Who's caring about you? You're in a business that's supposed to take care of people, but they're supposed to take care of you too. So it just becomes this, I just see them. They eat unhealthy and they don't have a lot of options and they're burning the candle at both ends and they're trying to pay back all these student loans. It's a really, really rough scenario. It is not glamorous by any means. And so, I see my naturopath and she's uber healthy and I'm like, you're my role model. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. Although my primary care physician's in the gym and you see him on Instagram, he's hustling to get in shape.
Yes, he is. He loves posting.
He's the best. Dr. Aaron, and we love him. So he is, but I know he's working his butt off and exhausted too. So anyhow.
I like this question, Maria, because I feel like, it's kind of what you're talking about, but your definition today of staying healthy, what would that be?
My definition of staying healthy is a balance of emotional, physical, spiritual, and mental health. So it's kind of doing all the things and making sure that my body and my mind are able to do the things that I really want to do, to create, to live and have fun. And that's really been challenged for a long time. And we are on the road to a better future right now. And like I said, that's definitely thanks to the meditations with Dr. Joe and Dr. Allison and a few other things I've added. But, for me, health is, or the definition of staying healthy is to be able to do all the things that you want to do without the, I'm so tired in the morning, or I can't, or, that grogginess and fatigue and, all of it.
I love that. I feel like just waking up, I've heard you over the past couple of weeks be like, God, I've never had, or I don't remember the last time I had this much energy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I want that. I want to be there. Yeah. I love that. I think that that's so, and you have to have, it's the full picture, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have it all. This is another good question. How do you not get overwhelmed in a world with infinite possibilities? And there are so many different diets, supplements, doctors. How do you focus on the one?
That is a great question, because I remember at different points in this show, it's like, oh my God, this is so overwhelming. When we used to have more than one expert on a week, that was a lot.
A lot.
And I think you have to see what resonates with you. Not everything is for everybody. And so you have to really focus on what resonates with you, what feels right, sit with it, whether it's a practitioner, a practice, a supplement, or whatever. And then just really work with someone that can help kind of dial it down for you. Like, again, working with Dr. Allison, she gave me maybe 20 things to do. It was like, let's do some red light laser, let's do the sun stuff in the morning, resetting the circadian rhythm and grounding and the supplements and ice face baths and what else? Blue blockers, and then the nighttime sunglasses that after 6 p.m. you wear to start setting your brain to go to sleep mode. What else did she have me do? She has me doing this light water so that I can help remove the deuterium from the water I'm drinking. There's a bunch of stuff. And then there was some higher level stuff where I was like, okay, don't have the funds for that. There was some laser thing I can put in the bed that would be really cool and all this stuff. I was like, okay, this is what I can handle right now, because I know I'm an all-in kind of person and I really want to heal and I want to heal fast. So I instantly started doing the sunrise, wake up, go outside first thing, see the sun, and sit out there and start building my solar callus and, you know, and breathing and grounding and all of that. That was, you know, hard enough, but easy enough. And so I just started layering in the different things, and I would take my supplements, and sometimes I don't do the ice face bath, but when I can remember it, I do. So I would say 50% of the week I'm doing my ice face bath. I'm patient with myself because I know there are infinite possibilities. There's so much out there for us to do. And the goal isn't to overwhelm us, it's to educate us so that we know that there are infinite possibilities. So that's the other side of the coin. It's exciting to know that there are so many ways to approach your health, and having someone guide you that you trust, that is going to know the right supplements, that isn't going to pile on 1,000 of them. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that having more than 5 or 6 different things a day is good, because it's just too much for your body to process. So you have to know intuitively and be an active participant in your health. We talk about all the time. Tony Robbins actually coined it for me to be the CEO of your health. I always said be the CEO of your life, and to treat your life no different than you would treat your business, like, you know, really looking at it in that way. But your health is the same thing. Do your own research, bring on a quarterback that can help you focus it down to your lifestyle, your needs, what is something you will and won't do, right? I know what I will and won't do. And then we can work around it. Maybe there's a different way to do this. Maybe there's another way to go around it. You know, I didn't have to buy the laser machine. She had the laser machine. So I would go in there and do some sessions in there. And that was helpful enough. I didn't do it all the time, but I did do some in the initial stages that I'm sure helped. So you have to just know that, just like anything, are we going to be overwhelmed by how many clothing stores there are? I've never heard anyone say, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed with all the fashion possibilities.
Interesting.
Never.
You're right. Yeah, you're right.
No. And so with health, it's the same thing. We're going to pick and choose. I want that blazer. I want those pants. I love those shoes. And by the way, it is overwhelming because there are so many different fashion, you know. It was funny. We were in Nordstrom the other day and Kevin was like, you know, back in the day, it was like these few items were popular and in, and that's what everybody would wear. Now it's like skinny jeans, wide leg, low slung, high waist, everything's in. So it's so, I mean, have you noticed that?
It's so confusing.
He really made me aware of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of it before. And I'm like, oh my Lord, no wonder. It's
Yeah.
like you want everything all the time. So, but no one ever really verbalizes, you know, fashion's got infinite possibilities and I'm overwhelmed by it, technically. You just pick the things that feel right to you. So you do the same thing with the naturopathy stuff.
I love that. I love just being an active participant, doing your research and like feeling what feels right to you. It's that full body yes, right? It's like, okay, instead of like, for me, I know for so long, I like blindly, I was so like set on like a cure that I just like threw myself and my money at quite literally everything and anything and had 72 things. And Maria and Kev were like, yo, stop.
Stop the madness.
Stop. You have to focus. And it was like, so I understand that point too, where it's like, you're so desperate, but it's like, that only makes it worse. So it's like, if I would have just sat earlier and like, okay, let's actually focus on the things that what's working, right? But yeah, so it's being that active participant instead of just like trusting everyone else. It's like, you got to listen to you too and do the research and do your own. And I'm grateful that you guys came in and were like, So
raising the flag and saying, hey, I don't know about all these medications. Do I need to be on all of them? And, you know, is there any that we can take off the list? Because people in 2022 are still going to the doctor multiple times. Something's happening. They've got a cold. They've got an infection. They got this, they got that. And they keep accumulating all these medicines and they don't even realize that no one's telling them to get off of them. And they just keep staying on them until they run out. And now they've done potentially some damage to their liver or to different symptoms or different parts of different systems in their bodies. So you have to be the one to pay attention. You cannot lay your care in the hands of anybody really other than yourself. You've got to be so present with your own health. And I know that's overwhelming and I know it's annoying and we think that's not fair because we have doctors that are supposed to do that, but the world is not fair, friends, right? Unfortunately, it is always up to us. And then from there, when you are an active participant, now you're working in tandem with somebody and they can help you. So I'm not thinking Dr. Allison's going to remember everything for me. I'm saying, hey, what about this? What about that? And okay, let's review everything. And here's what we're on. Am I still going to stay on these now that my blood work has shifted? You know, how much longer do I need to be on them? You've got to be asking the questions actively all the time because everyone's just a human, whether they're a priest or a doctor or a lawyer, it doesn't matter. Every legal agreement that's come my way, and by the way, I've definitely logged my 10,000 hours in that area too. I've read every stitch of my contract and the best lawyers in town have missed things. Why? Not because they're stupid or they're lame or anything like that. They are humans and they sometimes don't always know the things that you really need or are really important to you because you haven't even had time to express it to them. You wouldn't have even thought of it until you read the actual contract and you figure out the hieroglyphics of it all and you say, wait, no, that's not right. You got to do it in every area of your life, right? I signed something this morning for Elaine that was a nebulous little thing. And I go, wait, Elaine, I didn't read it. I need to read it. I need to know. And it was just for, I was submitting for a show I'm doing with Kevin Hart, what charity I want the money donated to. And I wanted to make sure that I wasn't signing anything that said anything other than the money's going to that charity. But you got to read it yourself.
You have to. I think too, something that we just filmed some really great GSTV tips last week. And one of the ones we talked about was your pain journal. And you've taught me this where like, I always have a note in my phone now too, where I do actually keep my medications in there also, because now I'm on very little supplements, but at the time when I was on so many, I would always forget. And like you said, I'm like, I couldn't expect Dr. Bradshaw to know the 1,700 supplements I was on. So I would keep my little, like if anything popped up in my pain journal, I would add it, but I also always knew what supplements I had. So I think keeping that on hand, whether that's a physical journal like Maria talks about, or like a note in your phone, when you do go to your doctor, it's like, you're not like, crap, I didn't take a picture of what I had or whatever. You have it just like on you at all times.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I haven't talked about the health or pain journal in a long time. So you can call it either one, health journal, pain journal, but you need a little note in your phone because your phone is always with you, no matter who I'm talking to. I think your phone's always with you, and the odds are with me, not against me when I say that. I think I could tell you to keep a journal, but wherever you are, you might not carry that journal with you unless you're somebody who really is diligent about having a purse and keeping it. So you decide. You need to keep health notes throughout the year. First of all, one annual physical a year really isn't enough, but that's all insurance covers. So we'll deal with it. That's why I love a naturopath, because you can see them a little bit more. You can do some blood work in between. You can keep tabs on stuff before it becomes something. Again, that's what a naturopath is really going to do. So I keep a journal of everything I'm feeling. If it starts to happen, I just write it down, like, 10, whatever today's date is. And I would say having a pain in my lower right abdomen. And this is what it feels like. It feels like a swelling, right? And then if I'm having headaches, I'll document my headaches. Or if even stool, good stool, bad stool. I've been keeping a real food journal that also includes, in the last month, I've been cleaning out all the gluten out of my life, like 99% of it. And everything in that category is really adjusted very nicely. So, so keeping a food journal, what you're eating and how your body's reacting or not reacting to it is really important, because then you can also now look back and say, oh, it must have been this. I actually had some hot sauce for the first time, and that must have irritated my stomach lining. And so I'm not going to do that anymore, because that's the only thing that's different that I haven't, it's like an elimination diet, but those sound very overwhelming to me. So I don't like doing those. I like just keeping a little food journal and then checking in on the stool situation every day and making sure everything's good. But the pain and the health journal is super important, because then when you do go to your doctor for that annual physical that I know you're all scheduled for, and if you haven't, do it today. I say that lovingly. You can go over it with them, because when you go to the doctor that day, you don't know what happened to you that day, the day before. Something awful might be going on in your life at that point. Something amazing might be going on in your life at that point. Or you might just be exhausted, wiped out, mentally blocked, whatever. Those notes are not going to lie. And now that is your evidence to present to your doctor to say, I've noticed a pattern. I went to the doctor not realizing, because I had no notes, that there was a pattern that I was able to quickly assess together in my head that day. So when I went to Dr. Aaronin for my first appointment, it was because I was having ear pain. And I was like, God, what is a 30-something-year-old doing with an ear infection? This is weird. So I went to the doctor, and he checked my ears, and he said, you don't have anything in your ear. What else are you feeling? And I'm like, well, I guess since I'm here and I'm, not at work, I guess I can think about this for a minute. I've been having a lot of headaches, actually. Wow, actually, I've been having headaches every single day. I've been eating an extra cup of coffee a day. I can barely keep my eyes open. And then I started remembering that I was slurring my speech. And then I go, oh my God. And it hit me. And he goes, what? And I said, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I think I have a brain tumor like my mom. And that was the journey to brain tumor. Now, I don't know how I remember those symptoms in that moment, because I had never thought about them leading up to it. I was dealing with a mom who had stage 4 brain cancer, and I was super overwhelmed, super run down, super exhausted. I thought it was because I was taking care of her, and I was so emotionally spent and physically spent that I was feeling those things. Had I kept a journal, I might have even noticed it earlier than April, or, months later than my mom's diagnosis. But it was only because of my mom's diagnosis that I think I even arrived at that scenario. So what could have happened that would have been deadly is if I didn't notice and I just kept taking the Tylenol and just kept pumping myself with coffee and just kept on going because I look like a normal, healthy person. And then that could have done some extreme damage to me. So the health journal is so, so, so important, because we take for granted that we have memories. I tell you guys all the time, write it down. You cannot take for granted that you're going to remember anything, because we live very busy, distracted lives, distracted by people, devices, all kinds of things. So you have to write it down. Your health is the most important thing you have. And I don't care what age you're at. If you're young, like Elaine and Kelsey, and Elaine even more so at 22, You're just on your journey. And the mistake we all make is that we think, oh my God, I'm fine. I'm healthy. And we just abuse ourselves with crazy hours, tough environments, lack of real nutrition, poor food choices, whatever it is. And then, like I say, like somewhere in your 30s, all of a sudden we're dealing with a thyroid sitch. And that becomes a normal thing. Everyone's got a thyroid thing. But why is that normal? Why should that be normal? And then if you don't really take care of that because you're hustling and now your career's like really taking off. I don't know anything about this, guys. I just lived it. Then you keep shushing your body because you're so busy and you're winning and you're like, oh, I'm fine. Everybody else is taking a pill. It's fine. I'll just keep taking the pill and I'll be good. And then life hits harder and harder and harder. So that's why we end the show with Be Nice People, make good choices and be present. Those were my findings after tumor. Make good choices. You have the power in your hands every day to do the better thing for you. And it is as easy as making that choice for you. And so please keep a health journal. Please find a naturopath near you to work in tandem with your Western doctor. We need our Western doctors. Everybody has their place on the team. We need the quarterback. We need the defense. We need the offense. We need everybody. So get all of this under control. And whatever you have to do, even if you have to take a day off of work, sit down, do the research, find the people, meet them, establish a budget, whatever it is you have to do this, there is absolutely nothing more important than taking care of your health. Because once you don't have it and you are lying in a hospital bed like I was, you will very quickly look back and say, what an asshole I was. Why did I think my career or any of these things mattered more than my health? Why did I put anything first above myself? I promise you will think that in that seat, in that hospital bed. And I promise you will be really, really upset with yourself. And none of those things matter in that moment. The only thing that matters are the people that love you and the people that you love, and then getting your health back. That's it. That is all that matters. So before we get there, I have the crystal ball. You just got to make better choices now. And they're not easy, because we're not used to considering our health in this society that we've built. We are not used to taking care of ourselves and making good choices when everything that's being marketed to us is something with sugar or something unhealthy. And that is touted as what's fun, right? Kelsey and I were talking about like going out to eat. Oh my gosh, I bump my head every time. Like, can I please just have a salad dressing without sugar? How? Why does every salad dressing have to have sugar? Lemon and oil and oregano and salt and pepper is so delicious. Blend it with some basil and some rosemary. That's crack. That is so good. Throw some feta in there. Blend that so it's got a little creamy consistency. All good. Why do we need sugar?
We don't.
Why does everything have to be bad for you out there? Right? So we have to make those choices for ourselves, and we have to seek out the solutions. And if it's meal planning yourself and you know, and cooking for yourself, and you know, limiting how much you go out to eat, or when you go out to eat, have a plan, know what you're going to always order. Like I said, Kelsey was my inspiration when we would go out to eat, and I'd be eating junk, and she's sitting there with her salad and her like little fish or chicken or whatever it was, always super clean. I was like, damn, she's got real strength. I'm really impressed.
It's so hard. I mean,
but you did it. But you made those choices.
Yeah, I did. And now I feel like it's interesting because I'm finding now it's like harder for me to go back there because I was so like, or had to be really so strict for the SIBO thing. But also, this is what Maria and I were talking about the other day. It's like, society tells us that like all of this is fun, right? And it's like, how about like, no, your health is more fun. Like it's not the food or the fries or the this or the that. Like your health is fun.
Yeah, but
and like
healthy
being well
can
is
be fun too.
Right.
right? Like getting some really great blanched green beans with chopped almonds and, a little bit of like shallot or something in there. Like that's delicious. But I didn't know. And by the way, I grew up eating healthy. With my dad being type 1 diabetic and, in our house, I always ate clean. And then I went crazy in college. And then, of course, Kevin, loves eating, his stuff. But in these last months that I've been really focusing on cleaning out my diet, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm eating tomatoes and cucumbers and loving them as much as I am. Like I would have it once in a blue moon, but now I don't have the array of options I feel like that I did once before, where that was just part of something. I'm now looking at, okay, what other vegetable can I enjoy? And okay, we'll try some butternut squash and we'll try, all these different things, but there are options. We just have to reprogram ourselves, and it does take time and it does take energy, but it's for a reason and it's for an end goal. And I know that there is not one person that has turned into or switched over to a healthy diet that's then regretted it. There's not one person that's had bad results from eating healthy. Who? Tell me.
Yeah, nobody.
It's like, who's ever gone to the gym and regretted it after? Have you ever gone to the gym and said, oh, I wish I didn't do that this
No.
morning? Never. You feel so good about yourself. You feel so accomplished. And the same thing happens when you're eating healthy. So that's my spiel for the day. I really want all of you to really take your health into the highest of considerations. Most of us are just walking zombies, just getting through with like, a couple coffees a day. And, coffee could be fun and a ritual and an experience, and there's nothing wrong with having it. But when you can't keep yourself up without multiple cups a day, there's something going on that you need to take care of. And then when you're going and you're getting the mocha, frappuccino latte, extra this, extra that. And, those things have 36, 40 grams of sugar in them every time. Nobody's paying attention because it's all marketed as fun and pretty and awesome.
It's scary.
So, and by the way, they are. I'm not saying don't ever have one again. But really be present with yourself and really just see how much of this am I doing?
Yeah.
And be honest with yourself. Like Kevin the other day, oh, it's just a cheat. I go, honey, I'm going to catch you. I'm like, sorry, I have to. I go, you've been saying that every single day. Every day you've had a cheat and you keep saying, oh, it's just a cheat. I'm like, but if it's an everyday thing, it's not a cheat. This is a new pattern.
Interesting. I like that because I think it's so hard. And like I come at it from the, I go back to what Maria was saying earlier. You have to define what healthy is for you, because I know in the world of like food and coming from like the ED world, it's very
What's the ED world?
Eating disorders.
Oh,
so like from someone like I've had one, and so it is very challenging to be like the healthy. But I think like what you're saying, Maria, it's not having. You don't need to have the frappy mocha blah 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 blue blah blah every single day. You can cut it out and like not fully restrict yourself and have it like as a treat. It's like it's tough. I don't know. It's the healthy food thing is like can be really challenging for people. So that's why I like having that caveat, and I don't know why that's where my brain went when you were talking about Kevin, but I know that sometimes that's where it can be a challenge. But don't think of it as that's what I have to do. I don't fully think of it as a restriction. I'm like, no, I'm like cutting it out for my health, and I'm not.
You're making a choice.
Right. I'm not saying I'm never going to have it again. I'm just like making a choice in the moment.
That's the important distinction.
Yeah.
No one's telling you what you have to do. You're making a choice of what you want to prioritize right now. Right now, I want to prioritize my health. It may not be forever. Maybe, in 6 months I'll be in Italy and I'll want that gelato, right? When I quit sugar, I was like, that was my thing. I'm like, I don't want someone to tell me what to do. I'm going to make the restriction myself and the choice myself. And then if I want a gelato in Italy, I will. And I did. I had one, not the whole thing. But that's also my diet and fitness book, which was hard to call it a diet book. But, when you're trying to tell people what something is, sometimes they're accustomed to certain language. Mine was, how did I lose 40 pounds without, the help of anybody? I did it by making small, better choices.
Better choices. Yeah.
Every day I made small, better choices, and I was patient with myself.
Yeah.
And those choices accumulated to my ultimate goal and desire, which was to lose the 40 pounds. And that's the same thing in anything. You're just making the choice. So you're in control. Don't give your control up. Don't give your power up. You have it. So now when you make that choice, you can stand firm in it and say, this is my choice. I'm deciding to do this. I'm deciding that my goal to lead a more energetic, full, fun, healthy life is important to me right now. And this is what I'm going to do for it.
Boom. Choices, better choices.
Make good choices. All right, friends. If you haven't hit subscribe here on YouTube, please do. You won't miss a great episode. If you haven't left a podcast review, we are so grateful for all the Apple Podcast reviews you guys share. They keep us going. They make us feel so warm and fuzzy inside. We'll leave a link for that here in the summary for you guys to be able to do that. And then mariamenounos.com for my favorites in all areas: skin, hair, beauty, tutorials, all kinds of things, my travel tips. And that's it for today. Be nice, people. Make good choices and be present.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or mariamenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.